Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Round 10 weekly review. We had some good things and some bad things happen this week. Decent score of 2,336. It was a really good week for most. As you can see, usually a score like this would get you in the top 1%, but obviously top 6 this week are a lot of high scores. I only went down 28 ranks, so I'm still in the top 100 with a rank of 83, which is nice to see. And yeah, I've made 2 moves this week. I haven't reversed them, and it's in this tab because the internet's been a bit iffy. So I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, good week so far. Now on the Friday night. Originally, let me just show you the moves I did make. I ended up moving. Oh, that's this week's, but I did move Bose on to Jones, and I moved Powell onto Lines, which gave me a fair bit of money in the bank. And this is how the team looked. And as you saw on the Friday night, I decided to vice captain Lions, and I was really happy with a 129, and I was going to take it. And originally my plan was go Clayton Oliver into Bontempelli. And at 129 I was like, okay. And then half time of the Hawks game struck. Walsh is on like 105, and I'm like, he can go 180 from here. I might want to take a risk and go with someone else. Walsh cops a head knock. Does not much for the next half. Ends on like a 116. I'm like, okay. We're fine. I take Lions. Geelong game happens. Guthrie unfortunately does something wrong with his shoulder. Don't know the severity of it, but and don't know if he misses. But I know people vice captain him. He ends on a 98. I'm like, okay. It's looking like a Lion scam, and I had the loophole on Coleman. The Melbourne games come around. I didn't watch much of it. I was busy with other stuff, and I see the score. What Clayton Oliver is on. I think it was midway through the third or in early fourth. I open my phone. Clayton Oliver is on 177. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? I got on. I watched the rest of the game. It was a great end of the game, and Taylor Walker kicking the game winner. That was nice to see. Game ends. He's on 220, and I'm like, oh no, that hurt me. So I think I'm like, okay. Then it goes, and he ends on a 204, and I'm like, what do I want to do? And by this time, the Bulldogs game has started. So by the time I came to the conclusion that I wanted to see someone else to try and catch up on those Clayton Oliver vice captainers or captains, Bont was gone. So I couldn't go to Bont, who scored a 159. And then next morning, I've got no idea, and I'm like, okay, I'll go with Grundy. Grundy's in 92 at halftime, 98 or something. I'm like, okay, this is looking good. He just slowed right down in that third corner, ended it on like a 110, and then the last 138. So obviously, I gained 11 points, but obviously I could have gained a 30 or like a 75. But anyway, that's the thing with captaincies, you never know. So anyway, going to the back line, had a good week. 123 for Laird, I'll take that. In a nice win versus the D's. Lloyd 98, goals up. Stewart 87. Obviously unders what you want, but Stewart has been probably one of my best starting picks this season. So with a 105 average nearly, I'm fine. Ridley in a 105 in a really good game from Essendon, and it's probably not in North's forward 50 that much, so happy with a 105. Short with a 77. I think Hooley's really killing him, and he might be one to move on during the buys, but I'm very tempted to hold because I don't know how Hooley's body is going to go. I feel like eventually something's got to happen. Obviously, wouldn't wish injury on anyone, but it's similar situations with other players where you're like, how long can their body hold up? People at the start of this year were saying this is Hooley's last year. His calves are cooked. Short could be a D1 because of Hooley just not being on the side, and he's played every game since he's returned. So anyway, Jones 48, we take that. I had a Cozzy 52, but I thought Jones maybe could get a 60 or something. Probably a bit selfish there, or not selfish, greedy, because he could have ended up on a 30, but I was more focused on my captaincy than 52 from Cozzy, so we take Jones 48. I love the midfield. Unfortunate that I had to vice captain my fourth lowest scoring primo there, but obviously we take a 160 from Brom. We absolutely take a 204 from Clary. 130 from Lyons, 150 from McRae, 120 from Merritt, and Merritt was underscored due to no scaling. So we take that. Jordan, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to get rid of him because I'm behind on upgrades, and being 83rd and behind on upgrades, it's really not nice. And with 306k in the bank, I just want to get those upgrades out of the way. So he'll be leaving this week. If you can hold, he's one you can. He can still score good until the buys, and he might not lose that much cash, but I'm going to move on for upgrades. And the Demons have the Doggies this week, which is scary because Dogs are one of the best midfield in the comp, and I think they hold oppositions to the lowest score, so that's why I'm going to move him on. But if you hold and he pops out 100 somehow, great job. That's a great hold, and it will be great cover during the buys. Poulter, 80. He had like 110 Dream Team. Great field. RCD, a 50. You know what, I'll take a 50. If you brought him in at 182, probably not what you like, but me being me, I brought him in at 123. I think I brought him in early, and yeah, I'm happy with a 50. Brayshaw injured, hurt his calf's been a little bit sore. I think he's just a rest, trying to get him ready. Don't want to not play players at 100%. McNeil, I think he's not going this week, but he's one I would like to move on, and I'll probably try and move on next week, depending. But that's the thing is the buys start next week, so he might be someone I hold next week. And McRae obviously not playing, and I think Pies VFL didn't play according to JD, so probably not much chance of him getting another spot, because there's nothing he could really prove himself. And the Pies did really well against Port Adelaide. Grundy 138, you love to see it. As a captain, usually you'd take this every day of the week. You take Lions 129 nearly every time as well. But obviously with the Clary 204, I wanted to take that little risk, and I was pretty confident that Grundy would not go below like 125. It'd be pretty close. Gorn 124. You take that. Flynn 94. He might get moved on this next week due to the bye. Even though I like holding him until round 14 for field, he's just someone I'd like to downgrade to get an upgrade. So yeah, just try and hope. Depending how large he goes. If he goes like 120, 130. Obviously, and has like a negative break even, you're not going to trade. But I feel like eventually they're going to drop him again, and I don't want to hold him during his bye just for him to get dropped versus North Melbourne. Bull and Hall, obviously great, combining for 200, would take that. Impy 91, you take that. Warner is a good rookie to hold during the buys, pumping out 60s, but I'm trading to double up. Robertson, nearly traded him the other week. Glad I held on, and we get his 60s and his break evens down a bit. Hopefully he can get to like a 320. Waterman getting games is nice. Unfortunately, we got told he'd play his stringer role, and he didn't. He just parked up forward. Kicked 2 goals, not a lot of scaling. And Bergman was a sub and didn't come on. And Common is obviously a loophole. So, what is happening this week? Well, let's just see. These are break evens for people who like seeing that. This is just my side. I might show the others later. But obviously, we bring on Brayshaw for RCD. Cozzy for Jones. and probably Bergman for Waterman as long as he's not sub. Now, I'm trading out Warner with a 71 break even and Jordan with a 75. Now, you might have saw earlier in the vid when I showed my trades who I'm getting, but I like Bailey Dale. It's between him and Hind, and while I think Hind has the better run home because of how many he plays at Etihad or Marvel as they call it now, and the MCG, he doesn't leave Melbourne a lot. Has one in Gold Coast, one in Perth, and one in G Town, which is only 3 away games. And obviously Dale, if this wants to load, maybe not. Maybe if I put him in my team, because this is who I'm getting. I think I like him better just because he has a higher ceiling. And I think he takes kickouts I think he was taking kickouts. He was taking kickouts. I'm not sure what he did in this game because I didn't watch it. And he did kick 2 goals. So I'll have to look into that. And obviously Dustin Martin versus the Crows at the G. At 4:33, I can't put him off for any longer. One I was considering this week was Whitfield, but I'm going to try and get him round 13, I believe. Now, right now, this is obviously how my team is looking. Now, I'm going to do Gaundy this week, because it just works every time. A lot of your vice-captain options, like Bontempelli, Oliver, McRae, are all facing each other, and Gorn's going to be going off against Sweet, so I'll take Gorn vice-captain. Now for captaincy, I don't mind Lions, but obviously Gorn versus Radigalia I'll take, and depending on what Geelong's doing with Ray Stanley, because he hasn't come back since the punting. But yeah, this is what I'm doing this week. My plans for next week is hopefully, I know it's a bit of a risk, but these are players that are on my watch list. Callum Mills obviously is the number 1 defender. He looks nice. Fife is one who the Dockers have an easy run after the bye. They do play the Dogs next week, but Gold Coast, Collingwood, Carlton, Hawthorn are pretty easy games for Fife, and I think I am a little bit biased for Fife. You guys know I started him, but I am liking him because I think if he can get to 550k, even though he's first in the Bulldogs, I have belief in Fife. I know he's one of the best players in the competition, and yeah, I just have that faith with Fife. Neil, he's one to consider once he comes back from his injury. Guthrie, I'm not really interested in him anymore after his shoulder injury, so we can probably take him off the list, but obviously goodbye. Walsh is one I'll probably be trying to get round 14 after his bye. And that run home, look at all those games that Marvel Eddie had. He looks like a nice option. And Steele is one I'm looking at, but with St Kilda's form, I'm really not too intrigued by him. He's just not interesting me. What's his 5 round is 104 and his 3 round is 108. Compared to Fife's 3 round is 110 and 5 rounds 111. Now, while Fife's an injury risk, if you look, I have 16 trades, and that's plenty. I am stacked up on trades, and now that I've built up my primos, I think I'm in a really, really good position. Now, for my team, what I'm looking at is I'd like Cozzy to become Whitfield eventually after Whitfield's bye. Next week's plan is I might trade Flynn and Bergman, because my round 14 bye, I realise I have no Fords are out, so it's just not ideal. So Flynn and Bergman, you get Reeves to just generate the cash, and maybe flip Poulter into the midfield and get someone like Fife or Steele who can cover for the first 2 bye rounds. And yeah, I kind of just like, yeah, I need that help because the round 13 bye is going to kill me. And round 12, I'm pretty set. But yeah, Flynn and Berg to likely Fife and Reeves next week is my idea. Hopefully I'm not going to hurt too much in that bye, but yeah, that's all for this week. I think these are the trades I'm going to make. I might change it for Whitfield or something. But yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. But yeah, Dale and Martin in, Jordan and Warner out. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you in the next one. See ya.